Trump played all his cards in his first month that now no country respects the US anymore. South Africa, the current host of the G20 Summit in Johannesburg, has embarrassed the US by standing firm against several last-minute demands and a sudden policy reversal from the United States. Here is a breakdown of the situation regarding South Africans refusing the American change of heart. For weeks leading up to the summit held November 22 to 23, 2025, the US Trump administration announced a boycott of the event. The stated reason was an unverified claim regarding the persecution of white farmers in South Africa.
I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in parts of South Africa, look at South Africa, what's going on. Look at South America, what's going on. You know, I'm not going to, we have a G20 meeting in South Africa. South Africa shouldn't even be in the Gs anymore because what's happened there is bad. I'm not going. I told him I'm not going. I'm not going to represent our country there. It shouldn't be there.
Just days before the summit was set to begin, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa revealed that the US had reached out at the 11th hour with a change of heart, indicating a desire to participate after all.
We have received notice from the United States, a notice which we are still in discussions with them over, about a change of mind about participating in one shape, form, or other in the summit. So the discussions are still ongoing. This comes really at the late hour before the summit begins.
Here is the first denial. While South Africa acknowledged the request, they effectively refused to halt or alter the summit's proceedings to accommodate the sudden US entry on American terms. Ramaphosa stated that while discussions were held, the summit's logistics and agenda were already set. The second denial. A major point of contention was the official handover of the G20 presidency to the United States. The proposal was, since President Trump refused to attend, the US proposed sending a charge d'affaires, a junior embassy official, to accept the G20 gavel during the closing ceremony.
I saw the South African president running his mouth a little bit against the United States and the president of the United States earlier today, and that language is not appreciated by the president or his team. The ambassador or the representative of the embassy in South Africa is simply there to recognize that the United States will be the host of the G20. They are receiving that send-off at the end of the event. They are not there to participate in official talks, despite what the South African president is falsely claiming.
South Africa publicly rejected this proposal as a breach of protocol. President Ramaphosa's office stated that they would not hand over the presidency of such a major global body to a low-level diplomat. Instead, Ramaphosa declared he will hand the presidency to an empty chair to symbolize the US absence rather than dignify the insult of a junior replacement. Apart from outright war, America is basically an empty chair at this point. The third denial. Pushing through the declaration. The most significant refusal was political. The US had formally warned South Africa not to issue a joint G20 leaders declaration if the US was not present to agree to it. Washington argued that without the US input, there could be no consensus, and demanded the outcome only be a chair statement, a less authoritative document. South Africa ignored this warning. On Saturday, November 22, the host nation announced the adoption of G20 Leaders Declaration by consensus of members present. The document focused heavily on South Africa's priorities: climate change, wealth inequality, and reform of multilateral institutions, areas the US has specifically objected to.
The G20 underscores the value of the relevance of multilateralism. It recognizes that the challenges that we face can only be resolved through cooperation, collaboration, and partnership. The adoption of the declaration from the summit sends an important signal to the world that multilateralism can and does deliver. It sends a message of hope and solidarity across the world.
So basically, this is the disadvantage of showing your hand so early in the game, because now, apart from an outright military conflict, the US has no soft power left to pressure South Africa to do anything.